Ardern was born in 1980. As a post-80s, she became New Zealand's youngest Member of Parliament ever in 2008, and became New Zealand's youngest Prime Minister ever in 2017. She can be described as young and promising. After the mass shooting in Christchurch in 2019, she wore a headscarf to meet with the Muslim victims. Her condolences and her hug shocked the world. This kind of fraternity of Western whites towards Muslims, the thousand-year enemy, moved the world. Muslims even projected her picture on the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. The Western world also gave her a flood of praise. As a result, she appeared on the covers of various magazines, and Hollywood even wanted to make a movie about her. In New Zealand, the support rate of her Labour Party has historically exceeded 50% quickly. Fans posted her profile picture on the street, and observers even invented a word, Jacindomania, to describe this tide of public opinion. At the same time, factions within the Labour Party were united as never before. At that time, Ardern was full of energy and momentum. At that time, many people seemed to think that Ardern's brilliance and reputation would accompany her throughout her life, and the Labour Party she led would also be in power for a long time because of her. However, just less than 4 years later, the Labour Party is facing low support rate. Some experts said sustained attacks on her character, threats against her life, and the prospect of worse to come in the months before a tough election likely contributed to Ardern's decision to get out. According to New Zealand police, 50 threats were made against Ardern in 2021, up from 32 in 2020 and 18 in 2019. The threats related to vaccinations, COVID-19 and firearms, police said, though it was impossible to ascertain a motive for many as they included simply offensive, obscene or threatening words. There have been people who have made some pretty vile threats against her, said Neil Jones, political commentator and Ardern's former chief of staff. I think that's something that's put pressure on, but I think she was quite clear that she just ran out of juice in the tank, he said. Ardern also didn't mention misogyny in her resignation speech. In her customary manner, she appeared open and honest and allowed tears to well in her eyes as she announced she would not be seeking re-election. Now Ardern has not only resigned from the positions of Prime Minister and Party Leader, but even announced that she will not run for Parliament this year, which can be regarded as total withdrawal from the political arena. In Ardern's resignation statement, a strong negative energy can be read. She said that she had contributed everything to the country and that she was no longer had enough in the tank to do the job. She also said to her young daughter, "Mom is looking forward to seeing you when school starts this year." Her fiancé Clark, who has been unable to marry due to busy state affairs, said, "We can finally get married." Ardern's resignation is more like a result of heavy political pressure than a whim of indifference to fame and fortune. This is somewhat similar to the former Prime Minister John Key, who suddenly resigned in 2016 to return to the family. It also makes many people feel that the Prime Minister of New Zealand seems to particularly like to resign and engage in the narrative of returning to the family. Is the profession of Prime Minister really so scary? Ardern's negative energy mainly comes from the various crises New Zealand is facing. Bank rates in New Zealand have soared to a 30-year high, hurting business owners, while rising prices hurt wage earners. At the same time, the labor force is rapidly losing to other countries, and the deterioration of domestic security has forced the Chinese, who have always been easygoing, to take to the streets to protest. In addition, many of the policies promoted by the Labour Party in the past, such as the reform of the water system and the reform of Aboriginal equal rights, have caused great social controversy and even led to ethnic divisions. And many of the things that Labour promised, such as the housing plan to address the housing shortage, have only been completed in fractions. Ardern's political allies have also been shaken. In the party, when Ardern tried to fall in line to the United States in Sino-US relations in 2022, she was publicly warned by party leaders don't stand on the wrong side of history. Outside the party, the Green Party, who has been supportive in the past, believes that the Worker Green Cross-Party Agreement is toxic due to differences in environmental protection issues. While to the citizens, Ardern's strict anti-epidemic policies and emission reduction policies sparked endless demonstrations and rallies. The political crisis caused by so many issues has made Ardern stressed. Several polls have shown that the Labour Party's support rate is lower than that of the opposition National Party. This year's election will be hard to win. At the same time, the New Zealanders' attitude towards Ardern has also changed from the past Jacinda mania to the current full of complaints. Many New Zealanders are now celebrating Ardern's resignation after growing disillusional with the direction the government was heading. New Zealand journalist and Daily Mail columnist Dan Wootton has sharply criticised Ardern, saying her leadership has led to economic disaster. He said, "Jacinda Ardern has resigned as New Zealand's Prime Minister knowing full well she was about to be brutally booted from office by Kiwis who woke up to her COVID authoritarianism, be-kind hypocrisy and an economic catastrophe she inflicted on an amazing country. Good riddance."